Welcome to Coverage Over Coffee, hosted by AI Mutual. I am Agent Ivory, and here we talk about various insurance topics in a fun and informative way that is easy to understand. Enjoy hot coffee and delicious pastries with like-minded people that are excited about creating generational wealth for their families. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the channel. Here at AI Mutual, we absolutely love coffee. You know what time it is. Time for this week's Coffee Shop Spotlight. Mama say, mumakusa. Mama say, mumakusa. Hey, we're having a great time today. We are on site at Mamaka Bowls. They have excellent locations in Arkansas and Texas. Let's go. Mamaka Bowls is definitely for people who are free-spirited and enjoy life. And if you're anything like me who loves to travel and loves the beach, and maybe you just can't get away and need a quick beach fix, then this is a spot for you. Enjoy their various acai bowls or smoothies. For instance, the bean, which I have been getting very consistently when I go there, includes coffee, peanut butter, banana, agave, cocoa nibs, almond milk, and it's topped with blueberries, banana, cocoa nibs, and homemade granola. They also have beach flavors like their Pura Vida and Ohana bowls. So I'm going to actually give them 5 stars for their California Dreams environment, along with their tasty acai bowls. Visit them online at mamakabowls.com. And don't forget to tell them that AI Mutual sent you. Hello, everyone. Today we will talk about being prepared for a natural disaster. As many people know, we have Hurricane Ian that has caused major destruction in the state of Florida and is making its way along the East Coast. So we want to show everyone, our audience, how to be proactive and react instead of reactive when it comes to preparing for natural disasters. Just a little bit about myself. I am everything insurance. I absolutely love the insurance industry. I am the CEO of AI Mutual, an insurance brokerage firm that specializes in business and personal insurance products. I am also a licensed property and auto adjuster. Having worked as a catastrophic adjuster for many hurricanes and hailstorms, it has prepared me with the insight on how to best protect your family and assets during a storm. So, what is a natural disaster? Well, a natural disaster is a natural event such as a flood, earthquake, or hurricane that causes great damage or a loss of life. In the first half of 2022, natural disasters caused overall losses of US $65 billion, with slightly more than half of these insured. So that's not good. Only slightly more of those losses were insured. So that's people whose losses were not covered. Extreme multi-day rainfall and severe flooding in Australia constituted the main loss burden for the insurance industry of at least $3.7 billion. But US, once again, had the highest weather-related losses with around $28 billion. So climate change. The natural disasters that we have experienced this far include, of course, here in USA, Mississippi, we saw that with the flood, and then, of course, it led to bad water. Of course, here in Texas, we had the droughts where people unfortunately had to sell their cattle and livestock. Water restrictions are still in place in some parts of Texas. Western states, due to no rain, Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, Wyoming, California, Nevada, and Arizona are facing drastic restrictions of utilizing the Colorado River, which farmers use for irrigation and agriculture purposes for years. So let's talk about overseas. Well, let's go to Pakistan. There's so much happening overseas, actually, that they really don't put in the U.S. news. But I think it's very concerning and alarming because, again, we're all one a global family, but in Pakistan, 1/3 of the country is now underwater due to a recent monsoon. 1,100 people had died. I think this number actually has increased. I know at least 400 children of that 1,100 died, which is really sad. And millions have been displaced. Also, there's severe flooding in Australia, extreme heat, droughts, and wildfires in Europe. One thing for sure, it is not a question on if a natural disaster will happen, but a matter of when. So let's talk about the almanac, winter predictions. So I would recommend everyone go to the website www.almanac.com. I know I used to hear about just the almanac book that they used to have that you still can get that uh, our grandparents before us have talked to us about. But the Farmer's Almanac, which has been going strong for 200 years, releases extended weather forecasts for people to plan ahead. Lots of great tools on their website, including weather updates, gardening tips, moon cycles, healthy food recipes, and activities for kids. So let's take a look at this particular map, okay? As you can see, the US map shows that the weather this winter will be split into two. So some will have good weather, some people won't, but let's take a look into it. The winter temperatures will be colder than normal across much of the country between the East Coast and the Rockies. Snowfall will be greater than normal from central New England through northern Carolina, from the lower Great Lakes and the Ohio and Tennessee valleys into the southern plains, from the northern plains into eastern Washington, and across the higher terrain of southern Rockies and California. Freezing temperatures will also bring above average snow totals to most in the eastern U.S. that typically experience snowfall. Okay, so this map is very helpful to farmers, wedding planners, truckers, vacationers, and those responsible for shoveling snow off their driveways. So, how to prepare for a disaster? Well, the first thing, we're just all going to have the right mindset. Okay, without the proper mindset, we're just going to be doomed. We have to have the will to survive. Okay, you can have all the tools, food, evacuation plans, etc., to survive, but if you lack the will to survive, you won't make it. Prepare yourself mentally to know that you can be in a disaster situation just like you see on TV. Sometimes people see tragedies on TV or in the news, like I just said, in Pakistan, somewhere else, right? And they think it can't happen or won't happen to them. So they treat it as a movie scene for entertainment or fictional purposes. Realizing that tragedy can strike even your home now puts you in a survival mindset and helps you prepare. Being prepared is wise. I know sometimes people say, oh my gosh, I don't want to live in fear, so I'm just going to keep going about life and not even thinking about it. Okay, that's not wise. That's actually foolish, very foolish of you. Okay, God gives us all of these signs. He actually tells us to listen to the warnings. He lets us see the seasons change, and the clouds even tell us when rain is about to happen. These things help you be prepared. He wants us to be prepared. Okay. Speaking of preparation, let's talk about famine. So let's start with preparing for the upcoming famine. And yes, there will be an upcoming famine. Taking charge of your food supply is a must. This was done in Genesis chapter 41, verse 54. And it reads, and the 7 years of famine began, just as Joseph had said. There was famine in all the other lands, but in the whole land of Egypt there was food. God has given us all the signs of an upcoming famine. We have seen how inflation is destroying the power of the dollar. Rising food costs continue to happen each month. You've seen it. I mean, I keep talking about these carton of eggs. I guess I'm a little bit upset about these carton of eggs, right? But I know when I purchased a 36 carton of eggs, I mean, it's crazy. It's gone up to almost $10. I think I paid like $9.82 at one point for a 36 count. When have we ever had to pay that? And I always say, well, how is this going to be next year? But anyway, droughts causing crops to die and cattle to be slaughtered. Over 200 factories set on fire. So we must act now. So how can we act now? Well, the first thing that we could do is start a garden. If you don't have farmland, it's okay. I mean, if you're not like Bill Gates, who owns like all these millions of acres, okay, it's okay. You don't have to own millions of acres to make sure your family has enough food to survive. Just purchase some seeds and start planting. Even if you live in an apartment in the city, you too can become an urban farmer. All right, start prepping. Purchase beans and rice at the grocery store. Don't be too proud to eat rice and beans daily if the need arises. When I was in Costa Rica, beans and rice were considered a staple food there. I literally made 30 dishes from beans and rice when I actually lived abroad. So if you actually need some tips, just inbox me, message me. I can give you some tips on how to turn beans and rice into 30 dishes. Teach your kids now to not turn their noses up on this if this must be eaten daily. I know that our families are so used to getting fast food every day, Uber Eats, whenever, whatever they want at their fingertips. But if that is not an option, I don't want your kids to be so spoiled to where they just turn their nose up on surviving. Okay, so no. Also, purchase canned goods. Check the sodium on the cans. You still want to eat healthy during a famine. Also, you can start a community garden. All right. We need to start a community garden. This is a great way to go ahead and bond with your neighbors. All right. Work as a team to ensure your community has the food that it needs during a famine. And then one thing that's pretty cool is I would just check with your county just to make sure. But some residential lots are zoned for community gardens. So you may be able to start a nonprofit organization, go to your city and get your lot zoned if it's not already zoned for that. And again, start creating community gardens for your community. All right, let's move on to flooding. So it's very unfortunate. I know right now we have Hurricane N, and so it's actually a real hurricane. So I do pray that a lot of those claims will be paid since I'm sure it's a lot of wind damage, and wind is covered by your policy. However, if water just came into people's homes and they cannot find an insurance related storm opening, then that would be considered flooding, and flooding is not covered by your policy. But let's take a deep dive into this. So damage caused by flooding is not covered, okay, by your standards homeowners policies. Insureds are always in for a shock when they speak to their adjuster and find this out. The only thing adjuster can do at that point is provide you with a denial letter and allow you to present that to FEMA during a declared catastrophic event, so that way you can apply for assistance if you don't already have flood insurance. So why do people not have flood insurance, Nicole? Well, last time during Hurricane Harvey during 2017, the city of Houston, like 80% of the people did not have flood insurance because flood insurance is so expensive. It's literally like another bill for most people. You know, they always talk about that most Americans can't afford a $400 expense. Well, maybe in some cases, flood insurance could actually be $400 a year for a premium, you know? And if you cannot afford that, or sometimes it just depends where you live, it may be per month. If you cannot afford that, well, then you're just going to go do without it and then just suffer the consequences once that flooding event happens. So, so I just encourage everybody to please get flood insurance. I know I felt really bad. I thought I was doing a great job in 2017, directing people to FEMA. But then I heard years later on NPR News that the average check that people were able to get, these are the people who had to apply for assistance through FEMA, was like an average check was $7,000. I'm like, how is that going to restore someone's house? $7,000 is not enough to do anything. So if you even go into Harris County today, you will see a lot of vacant homes because people back in 2017, 2018, they just walked away from their mortgages, walked away from their houses because they just couldn't afford to fix it on their own, especially without assistance from their insurance companies or FEMA. So I just encourage everyone to get flood insurance, especially if you're in a low-lying area or flood zone. Visit msc.fema.gov to check your address just to see if it's in a flood zone, okay? You can purchase from private flood insurance carriers as well. You can go to NFIP, National Flood Insurance Program, to check rates there. Talk about energy. All right, so let's talk about energy. So Texans learned the hard way in winter of 2021. This made national news. They did not have access to electricity for several days. Some residents even died. Everyone now needs to be prepared in the event this happens again. So, okay, yes, we didn't know that was going to happen in 2021. Nobody was prepared. However, since that event has happened, we cannot go into this upcoming winter unprepared, folks. Like, you can't be on Facebook fussing about the same stuff and asking for somewhere to stay and assistance, and all. You can't do that because the economy is not even the same like it was earlier this year. There are going to be more people that is predicted that are going to be homeless, unemployed. Right now our economy has less than 300, has 300,000 people that are unemployed, and the Fed is talking about making it 4 times worse intentionally. They said we need to have 1.2 million people unemployed. Okay, so everyone's going to be trying to scrap and save and figure out their own situation. They don't have time to have you and your entire family come stay with them, eating up all the resources, taking up all the energy. All right, so we have to get past the whole being victims and start taking control of our lives. So we can't have a repeat of they call snowgeddon, right? Of 2021. So tips for the winter: purchase a generator. Ensure you have batteries. This is stuff we can do today, folks. Make sure you have a portable charger. Flashlights for every member in the home. Heavy duty blankets. Make sure you have those. Those are great. And I just recommend getting a tent. So, like, why do I need a tent inside of my house? Well, you need to go to the room that is most insulated and the warmest. Set up that tent. Make sure you have, I would say, make sure you have some uh, uh, blankets. Like I said, the heavy duty blankets for everyone if you don't have anything else. And then everybody needs to come together in that one tent, in that one insulated room, so you can have that body heat. Let that tent soak everything up. Okay. So that way you will survive, until everything starts to warm up or until the electricity is restored. So, reporting property and auto claims. And we are going to be putting a lot of this information and tips on facebook.com/ AI Mutual, because, as you know, we have Hurricane N. This is going to last several months, you guys. It's not going to be something that's just going to all be restored back tomorrow. So, a lot of homeowners and those who own autos are going to be in for a long journey here. So, we want to do our best to be able to assist them through this difficult time. So we will be uploading, hopefully on a daily basis, but if not every so many days, information with news that you can use. So that way you can get your property and auto claims going. Okay. So take photos of your property and contents now before a storm. It's hard to remember all the contents you had in a home or how your house looked prior to it being damaged. Sometimes insurers are under so much stress, that they can't properly think of all the details when it comes to their home or car. All right. So keep physical and digital records of your photos, purchase receipts. So if you have receipts from Amazon, IKEA, Home Depot, contractor invoices, renovations, repairs, all of that stuff. You need to have access to that, okay? So that way, in case your adjuster needs that information, you can send it to them ASAP or upload it to whatever database that they have for you to upload it to. Okay, get a list of contractors together that you trust or that come highly recommended to you from a friend. You need that list. You needed that list yesterday. Okay, everyone who's listening to me, it doesn't matter if you're in a hurricane zone or not. Some places may have blizzards, some places may have fires, some places may have tornadoes. You need to make sure that you have your list of contractors together, because in the event of a catastrophic event, that list is going to go through so quickly. You're going to be calling contractor A, their book, contractor B, their book, contractor C says, hey, look, we're not dealing with any jobs unless, it's $25,000 in damages or higher. You know why they can demand that? Because it's going to be so many jobs. If they know they only have a crew of, I don't know, 10, and everybody's asking for their assistance, they're going to go for those higher paying jobs. Okay. So you're going to have to build the relationships with people. You're going to have to have an extensive list of, vetted companies, preferably, or at least companies that your neighbors or someone from church or a coworker refers to you. Okay. And only use construction businesses that have proven are reliable and provide good work. You just don't want to go with anyone. During a CAT claim, which is now, always see if you can try to get 3 quotes. That's very hard to do because a lot of people don't have time to do quotes, right? They're making that money. but it's still in your best interest to get 3 quotes, okay? You want to see if they all align in both scope of work and pricing. Never share with them the adjuster's estimate that you're going to receive from your insurance company. If you do, the contractor will just adjust his price, most likely up, to align with the adjuster or the field adjuster's estimate. Try not to use out-of-town construction companies. And I'm saying that, but they're coming. Okay, there's so much money being made right now in the state of Florida. It's slow up north. Okay, so everybody from up north is headed down to Florida. People from Texas headed to Florida, unless there's going to be a major hurricane coming here soon. Everybody's trying to get paid right now. Like I just said, the economy is struggling. So everyone, all these out of town companies are headed there. Okay, and it's not like that's a bad thing, if they are good, but sometimes they just might not know the local area. Sometimes they might not even care. Or be passionate about the local area to restore it back to its original beauty and glory. So it's still preferably wise to use a local contractor if possible, because again, you can vet them a lot easier than you can someone who's from out of town. All right. But one thing is, never give a down payment to a contractor to start the work. You're going to hear that time and time and time again, because again, all these people are so busy, but you shouldn't do that, because what happens is, if you do that, and then they never do the work, guess what? Your insurance company is not going to cut you an additional check. You just made an error on your part, and now you're going to have to come out your pocket for how much ever deposit that they asked you for. So you don't want to be in that bad financial situation. So let's talk about some recommended podcasts, apps, and websites, because there's just so much to cover, but I don't want to go into everything. I'll try to, like I said, chop this up on some other podcasts, also post this on the Facebook page so you can have information in detail. But let's go ahead and talk about our Coverage Over Coffee podcast. I may try to deliver some more tips in the future on this particular segments like these. Also, let's go here. Let's do fast forward this so you can see that. Okay, so we'll post some stuff on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and we'll just cover everything there. So make sure you find us. Our handle is AI Mutual. Another website to go to is FEMA. FEMA.gov. You can get disaster assistance there. Again, like I told you about those flood maps, you can check your address. Ready.gov. Okay, for the month of September, which just passed, or actually it's still September. All my days are running together. But they do have videos on making a plan, protecting your family and property. It doesn't matter, even if you visit this website, in July. Okay, the information is still going to be on the site. So it's not like they're going to take it down once September is over. But this is really great information, because September is not only Life Insurance Awareness Month, but it's also Disaster Preparedness Month. And the reason why they do that is because there's so many disasters that's happening during that time. So you just want to make sure that you are proactive instead of reactive. Look at all this information. Take an evaluation of what you have, an inventory of what you have at your house. Make a checklist. Go online, see what you need to purchase. Buy stuff in bulk, whatever you need to make things cheaper. But get it done, because we are running out of time. Okay. And then also, let's go to ready.gov kit. Again, it shows you how to create an emergency kit. A bug out bag is really good to have. I keep hearing about all this nuclear stuff that may or may not happen in the future. So it's really good to have a bug out bag for each person in your family. NOAA.gov weather. Everybody's probably looking at that who's in the southwestern part of America at this time. But this allows you to receive real-time information on weather happening in your area. So again, it's just good to know. You just don't want to be like, oh, I'm sure it's going to be pretty tomorrow. Oh, I'm sure I'm going on this vacation. Everything's going to be good. You want to keep up with the most up-to-date information, okay? Because if you need to evacuate earlier or change your travel plans, this would be good to know, and to do it ahead of time rather than later. And then again, some other podcasts that I wanted to give you that you should check into. Go to survivalfirst.com. And the Best Prepper podcast. I mean, they have a whole list. I don't know, it's probably like over 20 podcasts that teaches you how to prep. I love that. They have like Financial Prepper. His show is really good. Kevin, he's really good. He talks about more of the financial, economic, point of view about all this stuff. Lead Farmer, he's really good. DIY Prepper TV, the Urban Prepper. Go ahead and find them, subscribe to their channels, like them, leave a comment. But you're going to be really excited about connecting with those communities because again, you're going to be with like-minded people who want to make sure that they have everything that they need to protect them and their family from a future disaster. So thanks again for joining us today for our Coverage Over Coffee podcast. We're definitely praying for everyone in Florida. Again, tune in to facebook.com/AI Mutual. We're going to be posting a lot of tips for everyone who is going through the whole claim process. Also, for those who still need emergency assistance, maybe you need some food, maybe you still need to find shelter. We're going to have all those resources there so that way you can get the assistance that you need. Until next time, everyone have a great day.